What you see behind me is not just a prison, it is a fortress of steel, concrete, and silence, built not for men, but for monsters. This is CECOT, El Salvador's mega prison, the strictest, largest, and most terrifying penitentiary on earth. Capacity, 40,000 inmates, and every single one of them is among the most violent, blood-soaked criminals the world has ever known. Here, inside these walls, walk men who ended lives as if they were taking breaths. Gang lords, executioners, psychopaths, sociopaths, creatures who once ruled the streets through terror. Now they are all gathered here, all locked together, and none of them will ever walk out alive. El Salvador, a country of just 6 million souls, a land of mountains, beaches, and hardworking people, but also a land once haunted by an epidemic of violence so severe the world gave it a name, the murder capital of the world. For decades, gangs like MS-13 and Barrio 18 ruled every street corner. They weren't just gangs, they were governments within neighborhoods, warlords in sneakers and tattoos who decided who lived, who died, and who paid. Extortion, kidnapping, murder. Entire families destroyed, children left orphaned, streets drenched in blood. At its darkest, the country recorded 104 murders per 100,000 people. Think about that. In one single year, in one small nation, tens of thousands of people were killed. To put it in perspective, in those years every single Salvadoran family either lost someone to violence or knew someone who did. No one escaped untouched. The gangs made rules. If you owned a small shop, you paid rent or you died. If your teenage son refused to join, he disappeared. If your daughter caught their eye, she became their property. That was life. That was daily terror. Then came March 2022, a month that would change El Salvador forever. President Bukele, young, bold, and unafraid, made a declaration. Not a war with tanks and missiles, but a war with handcuffs, buses, and prison walls. He called it the state of exception. Civil rights were suspended, police and soldiers had sweeping power, and the mission was clear: hunt down every gang member in the nation. In just 16 months, more than 70,000 men were captured. 70,000. That's nearly 2% of the entire adult population. A number so staggering, it defies belief. Entire neighborhoods were emptied of their predators overnight. Mothers who once wept for their sons now wept with relief. For the first time in decades, Salvadorans walked the streets without fear. But this left the country with a brutal problem. Where do you put 70,000 violent men? Where do you cage the monsters who once ruled entire cities? The answer was as brutal as it was simple. You build a prison so massive, so impenetrable, symbols of violence, symbols of lives taken, and as each bus unloaded, the mega prison swallowed them whole. I stand before the gates, a wall of concrete and steel, guarded by soldiers in black uniforms and covered faces. Their rifles never lower. Their orders are precise. Show your permission. Move slowly. Do not look away from the cameras. This is not a checkpoint. This is not security. This is a wall between two worlds. Behind me, the free. Ahead of me, the damned. As I step forward, the air changes. A strange silence fills my ears. The soldiers have activated the signal jammers. Within a 2-kilometer radius, all communication dies. Phones go dark, radios silent. No one inside can cry for help. No one can call the outside. Here, silence isn't just enforced, it is engineered. The security checks are relentless. We strip down, surrender every belonging. Even my wedding ring is forbidden. The scanners hum, glowing blue. They see through bone, muscle, and organ. Why? Because prisoners have swallowed razor blades, SIM cards, even phone chargers. Desperate attempts to smuggle contraband into this place. Then comes the body search, shoes off, socks turned inside out. Every inch of flesh examined. It takes nearly an hour just to pass through security. And that is with presidential clearance. Imagine what it takes to walk in as a prisoner. Imagine what it feels like, knowing you will never walk out again. Before the cells, they show us the armory, rows upon rows of rifles, shotguns, shields, tear gas, batons. The guards here are masked. Why? Because if their faces are seen, the gangs will hunt their families outside these walls. Here, anonymity is survival. I ask an officer, has there ever been a riot? He shakes his head slowly. Not yet. No one escapes. No one dares. The way he says it chills me. Not because of his words, but because of his certainty. In this fortress, resistance doesn't just fail. It disappears. The prison is too vast to cross on foot. We board a bus. The wheels crunch over gravel as towers rise into view. CECOT stretches across 410 acres. It is not a prison. It is a city within a country. 2 massive inner walls, each 3 meters high, coil around every module. Barbed wire crowns them like thorns on a crown. Even the ground itself is a weapon. Pebbles cover the earth outside the walls. Why? Because footsteps on pebbles sound like alarms. If, by some miracle, a prisoner reached the outer wall, the earth itself would betray him. I ask another officer, half joking, do any of them still dream of escaping? He laughs, shaking his head. They don't even dream about it anymore. At last, we reach the modules. 2 colossal blocks of concrete rising like tombstones. Each module contains 32 cells. Each cell is built for 80 men, yet often crams in 150. That means more than 2,500 prisoners per module, and we are about to walk into the middle of them. The door slams shut behind me. The air is heavy, the silence unbearable. Then come the eyes, hundreds of eyes, cold, dead, unblinking. They watch me like a pack of wolves waiting for the first mistake. My heartbeat thunders in my ears. Every step echoes across the concrete. Every glance feels like a threat. This is not a prison. This is a cage of predators, stacked wall to wall. Inside, there is no courtyard, no open air, no sky. The prisoners never see the sun again. Their cells are their universe. 2 toilets for 80 men. 1 basin. 1 barrel of water. That's all. They sleep on metal bunks, stacked 4 levels high. Bodies pressed together like cargo in a ship's hold. No pillows, no mattresses. Just a thin sheet, a towel, and a pair of slippers. Every 2 weeks their heads are shaved, their hair stripped, their identities erased, but their tattoos remain. Tattoos of MS-13, 18th Street, skulls, spiders, and tears. A teardrop for every life taken. Some men bear so many. They long ago lost count. Here they are not men. They are soldiers of chaos. But inside this cage, even chaos has been broken. I ask the officer, can I speak to them? He shakes his head firmly. No. If they try to speak, we silence them. Orders are not allowed to pass beyond these walls. But what if one does? I press. His eyes harden. Then there will be consequences. I stare at the yellow line painted on the concrete floor. It is an invisible boundary between me and them. Cross it, and even the guards cannot guarantee my life. And I realize, this is not the end of the story. This is only the beginning. Because deep within these walls waits someone else. A man whispered about by guards. A man feared even here. His name is Psycho. And he is waiting for me. The officer's words echo in my mind. You have 10 minutes, not 1 second more. 10 minutes. That's all I'm allowed with a man whose name drips like poison through these halls. The inmates call him El Loco. The guards call him Psycho. He is one of the most feared leaders of MS-13. A man with over 50 confirmed murders. A man so dangerous, he has never moved without 12 armed guards. And now, I am about to meet him. The small concrete interview room is suffocating. The fluorescent light buzzes overhead. The walls are bare, cold, damp. But the air feels heavy, as if even the oxygen is afraid of what's about to walk in. Then, the door opens. Chains clatter against the floor. and he steps inside. At first glance, he looks younger than his 41 years. Broad shoulders, sharp jaw. But his tattoos betray him. Skulls, letters, numbers. The mark of MS-13 carved into his very skin. His face is a canvas of violence. Every symbol, every line of ink, a life ended. The guards surround him, rifles steady. They do not relax, not for a second, even chained at wrists, ankles, and waist. He is considered lethal. "Remove the mask," the officer orders. Slowly, Psycho lifts the cloth from his face. And the room feels smaller, the silence louder, as if the walls themselves know the devil is now unmasked. "What is your name?" "Marvin Ernesto Metano Vasquez." "How old are you?" 41. "You don't look 41. You look younger." A faint smile. "That's good. Inside, I feel old." His voice is calm, almost gentle, but beneath it lies something cold, something I can't name. I ask about his past, and what he tells me is a story carved in blood. He was 11 years old when he joined the gang, a child searching for food, a child searching for shoes, a child searching for a father who was never there. Instead, he found the gang. "The gang gave me power," he says. "They gave me family. They gave me respect. But that family came with a price that no child should ever pay. To join, you must kill." The words hang in the air like a blade. "The first one," he continues, "is usually someone close, a friend, a cousin, a relative. You kill them, and you prove your loyalty." More. I stopped counting. The guards tighten their grips on their rifles, and I feel the air grow colder. But then Psycho's tone shifts. He speaks not as a killer, but as a man who has lost everything. My mother, my father, even my son, all gone. He lowers his head. "The last time I saw my boy, he was 5. Now he's 21. I want to tell him, don't live this life. Don't be like me." For the first time, his voice trembles. And for a brief moment, the monster looks human, a man drowning in regret. But then I remember his victims, the mothers who will never see their children again. The families left with nothing but graves. And I feel no pity. "Do you feel guilt?" I ask. He hesitates. His eyes drift toward the floor. "Sometimes I cry," he admits. "When I lay down, I think of what I did, and I ask God to forgive me. But this is how the devil pays." The room falls silent. The guards glance at the clock. My 10 minutes are running out. One final question burns inside me. "Do you deserve this? To never see the sun again?" He locks eyes with me, and in that moment I see it. The truth. "Yes," he whispers. "This is where I belong." The guards move in. The chains rattle like snakes, and just like that, Psycho is gone. But his words remain. Shaken, I am led deeper, to a place even the monsters fear, the isolation cells. The door creaks open, and I peer inside. A concrete coffin, barely large enough to move. A stone slab for a bed, a bucket of water, a hole in the corner for waste. No window, no sound, no hope. Here, they sleep with the lights burning 24/7. Some cover their eyes with towels, but the brightness pierces. 1 hour a week, they are taken outside. Not to see the sky, not to feel freedom, but to walk in circles under the rifles of guards, while the watchtowers loom overhead. Then, back to the cells, back to the cages, back to the dark. The government's message is clear. There will be no peace with crime. Not on the streets, not in the prisons, and it has worked. For the first time in history, El Salvador is one of the safest countries on earth, from the world's highest murder rate to one of the lowest. But at what cost? Human rights groups argue the innocent have been swept away in the tide, that families have been torn apart without proof, that among the murderers, there may be men who never killed. So the question remains, is this justice, or is it tyranny dressed as order? A warning to the world. or a solution no one dares admit they envy. As I step out of the gates, the silence follows me. The rattle of chains, the cold stares of thousands of eyes, and the whisper of Psycho's words. This is how the devil pays. I look back at the fortress. It does not look like a prison. It looks like a monument to fear, a monument to control, a monument to desperation. For the victims, it is justice. For the inmates, it is hell. And for the world, it is a question. How far are we willing to go to cage the darkness inside humanity? Because inside these walls, there is no hope, no redemption, no return. This is CECOT, the mega prison, the fortress of no return.